I actually think that there is this concept in web development in particular. I think I'm kind of starting to build up a timeline. So imagine this. Imagine it's like mid 90s. And in mid 90s, we were pumping out things like Winamp, Winamp, Winamp. It really kicks the llama's ass. Or what? What is it? It's not kicks. It's really whips the llama's ass, right? So you remember like Vent, Ventrilo, ICQ, like, hey, Quad, good to see you, man. Hey, Arvis. I don't know if I said hi to you, Arvis, but hey, I have to say hi to Arvis and Quad. Come on. So we had like all this software that like, yeah, wasn't perfect, but there was AOL, like you can come up with all kinds of examples in the mid 90s, right? IRC, which is still around and kicking. It's quite alive. I've been on some IRC channels as recently as this month for reasons I can't say. Okay, so take all that stuff, right? Now, here's what I want you to kind of imagine. Imagine you're someone who has to code. You have to code something like ICQ. Back in the 90s, those things were complicated. It took a lot. It was not easy. Like ICQ, you couldn't tell me that like back in mid 90s, ICQ or Winamp was an easy thing to code. Could you code those things today and have and I'm going to put this in quotes, easy time? Probably. Depends on what you choose, right? It depends on what you choose. Now, are there consequences to what you choose? Yeah, there are, right? And that's why I put it in quotes. So you could take like a library or a language that does really crappy stuff under the hood. And then you could say, look at how easy it was for me to do something compared to what it would have been back in the mid 90s. And then you'd have to ask, because I already see Twitch chat is getting to the point. Then you'd have to ask, what do you mean by easy? Because easy does not mean better. Easy does not even mean same, right? So maybe you've met the functional requirements, the feature requirements of something that existed back in the mid 90s. But you could argue that it takes up 10 times the amount of RAM or hard drive space, or it crashes way more frequently, etc. There are so many other things that come packaged and loaded into, I easily built it today. Right. Simple does not equal good. And this is the kind of like the line that I'm drawing, which is this is the argument I'm making. You can't come to me and tell me, look at how great the state of tech is, because look at how easy we can do things that were hard to do in the mid 90s. Now, here's what I think happened in the web in particular. So you go forward, it's like early 2000s, maybe 2010s, right? And the market changes and things become more competitive. And people like Facebook and Google, et cetera, have the ability to purchase large swaths of programmers, which means that even if things are actually hard, even if they're implemented correctly or incorrectly, kind of put that aside for a moment, they're just hard to do. These companies can do it at a faster pace. So then you start having other companies that need to compete, startups. They don't have the resources. So developers start coming into the industry. It's easier to get hired at a startup because it's a lower barrier of entry at the time. And these developers, being somewhat new, have some, I don't know how to call it. It's like some psychologically hidden desire to suffer the way that their predecessors did. They don't have a good way to go through the same amount of complex or challenging programming paradigms that people had to solve back in the mid 90s. as an example, by comparison. And there's like it's almost like an argument from abundance. They have it so good that they look at it and go, no, it can't be this good. I must also have to go through the same challenges as those people did so that I can consider myself a good programmer like those people would have been at the time, because look what they built. And in order to achieve that and sell that psychological premise, what they did was they took the web and they essentially tried to make it the most unnecessarily complex thing possible, so that then they could do exactly what this part of the article says. They could pat themselves on the back and go, oh, look at how hard it is. Guys, we're basically doing what Winamp did back in the mid-90s. We have it exactly as hard, if not harder. That's what I think is going on. And then that propagated into everything else. It was like a reverse AI propagation in real time, where they decided that people doing that saw the web and they're like, wow, man, people are doing web like this. And it's like, it's so complex. These web people must be really smart. And then languages like, I don't know, say Rust or whatever come out and they make your life easier. And then you go, no, it can't be this easy. I have to psychologically suffer for no good reason, just like they did back in the day, so that I can feel like I'm up to snuff. Because if I don't, then I'm going to suffer from some kind of imposter syndrome where this is too easy for me and we don't need all this crap. And then it's like, and then there's like, maybe there's no job security or something, like, you know, these unsaid psychological underlying factors that make it a requirement for you to just look at a piece of shit and they go, you know, I think I'm just going to like shit right on top of that. And I'm just going to like perfectly make sure that my shit just like coils around the previous shit, so that it looks like just one unified pile of shit. So then I can point at that pile of shit in whole. And even though I only made that pile of shit like 50% more shit, I can take that whole pile of shit and say, you see the shit I did? God, bro, check out this shit. It's huge. That came out of my ass. And pat yourself on the back. That's what I think this is. It's the same as video game nostalgia. If you don't beat that WoW raid on original and grind to level 50, you didn't earn your nostalgia pain badge and your new easy experience is invalid. Therefore, all must suffer moving forward. That's right.